Bringing Democratic strategist Steve McMahon and Republican strategist John Feehery. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
So American Crossroads has just launched a $10 million ad campaign. Mitt Romney raked in $4 million at a California fundraiser last night. Could money, essentially, Steve, fix this series of problems for Mitt Romney?
Well, structurally, the race is close and remains close, and that's the good news for Mitt Romney. But the bad news for Mitt Romney is $500 million has been spent so far, and the only thing that's really moved the numbers has been the bump that the president got as a result of his convention and the number movement that we saw or we will see here soon as a result of Mitt Romney's mistakes. So I think I don't think this is something that money can fix. I think the race is probably going to remain close to the end, but getting a 3-point lead, which the president now has in just about every poll across the country, is a pretty significant thing given how close this race has been and how close it's likely to stay.
So, John, what do you think the next step should be or can be for the Romney campaign? They thought that yesterday they were going to kind of reset the message. They were going to go back to what they thought their strength was, some messages on the economy, even on foreign policy. But then this video comes out. What do they do?
Well, in my view, they need to start putting the Obama record on trial. What has the president done? Where has he been successful? And more importantly, where has he failed? And I think that laying that out and how he can fix it, how he can make things better, laying out an agenda where he can show that he's a much superior choice and a much more credible president than the current president, I think that's what he's got to do. And to Steve's point, this is still a very close election. There's been 3 weeks of gaffe after gaffe from the Romney campaign, and yet it's still within the margin of error. And the one other point I would make, John McCain got outspent 3-1 in the last election. Mitt Romney's going to outspend Barack Obama, which going to give him a boost going into the closing days.
Here's the thing, though. The money in a presidential campaign actually matters less than it does in a Senate race or a governor's race. And what matters the most, as John pointed out, is what people see in the candidates. And what they've seen for the last 3 weeks is a bumbling fool on the Romney side. And what they've seen in the last 3 weeks on the president's side is somebody who is in command, in control, and somebody who offered a vision for the future. He told people candidly that it's been more difficult than he imagined and that progress has been slower than he thought. So he's actually done everything he needs to do, and Romney has actually done nothing he needs to do.
So
in
John,
fact, every time he opens his mouth,
does this up the ante on the upcoming debates?
Yeah, well, it does. I think debates are always very important, and these 3 debates are going to be critical. But to Steve's point, the president has not done all that he can do. The economy is in still lousy shape. We have an international crisis in the Middle East and North Africa, which, the president has not really done much to deal with. And the fact of the matter is the results are not there for this president. So if the Romney campaign can get its act together and stay on offense, I think that they're going to still win this election.
Let me ask you a little bit more about some of the fundraising that's going on. And there was $4 million at a $40,000 ticket fundraiser for Barack Obama with Beyonce, with Jay-Z at a Manhattan nightclub last night. And, of course, this evening there's an Obama event hosted by, quote, the most interesting man in the world.
His blood smells like cologne. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis.
The guy in those ads, the star, actor Jonathan Goldsmith, is hosting a reception in Burlington, Vermont tonight. But to the bigger question, which is there a point at which, I don't want to say the money doesn't matter, Steve, because the money obviously does matter, but do you reach a point where there's just so much of it and both sides have so much, even if there's a disparity, there's only so many TV ads you can buy?
Well, you actually do reach a point, I think, where the money doesn't matter as much as the external events, and we're at that point right now. What Mitt Romney is saying and the mistakes that he's making matter a lot more than all the money in the world right now, because people are looking at him and they're wondering what kind of a president he'll be. Remember, this is a long series that started really with the Olympics, where he went over and he basically insulted our biggest ally in Europe. He came home and it's been one blunder after another through the convention, the Clint Eastwood chair thing, the comments on Libya that were ill-timed and frankly didn't make a lot of political sense, and now we've got this tape that broke yesterday. So the campaign is reeling. The knives are out inside the campaign, and everyone's going after the top advisor. This is not a campaign that's going well.
And John, are you at the point, and I want to ask you as a Republican strategist here, if you're concerned, this is a candidate who, frankly, wasn't exactly igniting the base. He didn't have a lot of enthusiastic support from a lot of mainstream Republicans. And now, when he's at this point, is he anywhere near in danger of kind of losing the Republican Party support of people running for Senate, people running for Congress, backing away from him, the mainstream Republican leadership backing away from him?
Chris, I don't think so. And I think that Mitt Romney is not the greatest campaigner in the world, but I think everyone thinks he'll be a very effective president. I think President Obama is a very effective campaigner, but he hasn't been a very effective president. And I think that Republicans understand that they've got to be all in this together. There's not going to be any situation where you're going to see House Republicans or governors or senators running away from Mitt Romney, because his message is a good message, which is, we've got to fix this economy and we've got to get some confidence back in the White House. And to Steve's point, yeah, there have been gaps by Mitt Romney, but the fact of the matter is that it comes to results, and the results for this president are just not very good.
John Feary, Steve McMahon, it's good to see both of you guys. Thanks so much for coming.